trying to keep up with sports.
It's that time, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a little more chaotic. It's a little bit more.
What are you seeing when you go to the ones you see fans wearing masks?
Yeah, they're being really strict about it. But at those schools, I haven't been to any events outside of Sublette County, but here they're really.
Well, some
Where they fishing? Just snagging them?
Well, they're spawning right now, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, they're really aggressive.
We just make the announcement. They just throw a hook and an egg out?
No. I wear it all the time around kids, kind of like just for our liability.
Really? That'd be fun. Kids,
Yeah, you don't see those around here, up here.
around the state.
Yeah.
They just everywhere.
Just one hole?
Well,
Or
I'm sure
stretch?
every hole, I remember that.
Huh. That's crazy.
You know, you're
There's many cases in the schools now.
We'll see what happens with this.
We were just having
That's what they go. Spring you didn't try for last year?
No, I'm not much. Yeah, we got that.
But if that's that,
People
yeah.
Why
Why
not?
not?
I watched the fish this morning because they're on all season.
5 minutes.
A lot of people.
That'd be cool to put one on the wall like that with a big hook jaw on it. Huh. You have to play one out and see how it eats.
They seem, like us, they seem soft.
They should.
I guess once they spawn, they go to die.
It'll be just like the last.
That was cool, this first time.
Anything that's the renovation or like 5 minutes or less, they don't pay for it.
Hi, Al. Kevin, how are you? I'm good, how are you doing?
Good.
Sit right there. Tawny. No bugs.
Yeah, no bugs. No. Too cold for the bugs. That don't happen very often. Hi, Al. Hey, hey, how are you guys? Good, how are you? Good. Good, all figured out. Bill? No. Why not? Have you?
Well, I got everything I need to know.
Okay.
Which is good, very little.
And the student, student of the month, we'll do it for this month. We're gonna start next month.
Ron asked me to remind you guys.
We'll take their picture, we'll give it a plaque,
Over there.
maybe give you any
They have to
information.
stop around office and people for you guys to go around.
It kind of works good in
Who went around?
They just
One of the coaches. I didn't go around.
care like they asked
He's
them
got you on video.
I went
nice
around?
photo and then
He said they're very
just got
close
the
to
letters and
be
stuff.
sending these things
Both
into.
the teachers.
You don't pursue that way.
That's like $400.
Yeah, the worrier, the better.
But the boys,
Yeah.
but also.
The boys,
no,
okay.
Yeah, the boys, just remind them that, you know, when Matt is
Yeah,
in
we'll
the
get the
position
written
where
out
they're
there.
dropping off or picking up the actual activity, not the
Well,
part where
honestly,
we're at the
they're kind of
handicap ramp, because we do have,
that could
get on and off that bus
restrict the
for
third trips.
handicap, but also that stop arm is locked. You can't really go around either back or the center.
Okay, so you can, like, if you're in front of you, back up and go around that way?
The biggest reason.
It's just like it was if it stopped on the road, you just can't maneuver around it at all.
Okay, so just stop and let him turn.
Just stop them or don't go that way. I mean, if you've got kids who are parked on the back side coming out, don't come around that east side at all, if that's where the people are dropping off.
Okay, we'll let him know. It was probably Bill, he's got a truck that looks just like mine.
We got busted.
I know, the video doesn't lie, does it?
Yeah.
Stop arm cameras are
And we're not, apparently we're not keeping that one a secret either.
No, apparently not. The officials have been notified.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, if you get a chance, if you talk to code, Actually, got one.
So here's the thing, he talked to us independently, because I didn't tell Kevin about that.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
So we talked to you separate. Duly noted.
Because I'm available.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you have nothing but time, huh?
And he looked at me and he goes, how comfortable are you talking about what? I said, you might want to talk to Kevin.
The good news is, he was sure afraid to.
John was? That's right, he knows where he stands.
That's right.
We're gonna call this meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is pledge allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And we're going to move down to 1.2, additions and or acceptance of the agenda. The recommendation is for the board to accept the agenda as stated. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Then we're going to move down to 2.1, approved minutes of the August 18, 2020 regular board meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. We're going to move to 3.1, approved claims and payroll for September 2020. I'll entertain a motion to approve claims and payroll for September 2020.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and second. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to bring to your attention that we put a last minute bill for the Ford snowplow that was bid and approved at a prior board meeting on, because we were notified that they'll be delivering that truck on Thursday. I thought we probably should ask for them to leave the truck without paying.
Anything else?
That was all, thank you.
Anybody else? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Now we're going to move down to 4.1, which is principal's report. We'll start with Mr. McKelkey at Big Piney High School.
Oh, not sure where do you want Mr. Gurley? Good evening, everybody.
Mr. McKelvey, how are you?
So, high school board report, and at the end, just a little bit of activities report as well. I'll start off with, our kids are adjusting well to the COVID procedures. Very proud of our students. They've done an amazing job. It's not perfect, but it's way better than what we thought we'd be fighting when we came back. And I think the overriding sentiment is they're just glad to be back with each other, back in school, and they'll pretty much do anything we ask to keep that format. And the teachers feel that way. We have one school goal this year, and I know that we can't control it completely, but we're doing our best to stay in Tier 1. We don't want to move out of Tier 1. And if we can stay in Tier 1, we'll consider this school year a success, because I think good things are going to happen if we have kids in school every day and teachers working with So that's a very simple goal, and I'm just super proud. Our seniors have done a nice job setting an example, and our young kids are following along. So that's probably the most outstanding thing going on at the high school right now, in my opinion. Homecoming plans, the theme is Wild West. Okay, we are having a homecoming. That's next weekend, actually. Next Friday, we'll have both swimming Thursday night, and we'll have Friday volleyball and football. Football first at 2, followed by volleyball, I think at 5 o'clock and 6, JV varsity. So we're excited about that. Before that, we will have a parade at 10:15, same time we've had the last couple of years, and Kevin never had a chance to talk to you about this, but I've got a hold of Dr. Fitzsimmons, and he okayed the outdoor dance on Saturday night, which wasn't sure how that was gonna go, but the rule is, they're not gonna social distance, we know that, so they have to wear masks. And his hope is that they'll wear extra clothes and layers because it'll be cool. I said, well, I wouldn't bank on that, but I can pass that along to the kids. So it's gonna be shortened, the dance is gonna be shortened, it's gonna be in the rec center parking lot. We'll just have to really control who goes in there and have great supervision, and be from like 6 to 9. So it'll be shorter, earlier, and that should be good.
Can out of town kids come to that?
You know, that's a good question. In the past, we have restrictions on that. I call and make sure that, they're not troublemaker type kids. I was just thinking about that the other day. That's a pretty good question. Typically, here's what happens. They're from Pinedale. A couple from Cameron, maybe we get somebody from Evanston, but they're typically, our kids go to each other's dances a lot. And what's going on, or what may be developing in Pinedale, I don't know what that status is, but we might have to wait and see. I'll have to talk to Kevin and see how he feels. That hasn't been an issue before. I would just call, we'd have them sign up 2 days, 3 days before, then I'll call the principal and say, hey, here's the kids. Are you good if these kids come and they're not troublemakers, they're not expelled, or anything like that? But this is kind of a different situation, so I think that's a great question. That's a great question. I don't know how you guys want to discuss that later.
I think it'll be a last minute decision.
And it'd probably be as much up to the Fitzsimmons and people like that too, or is he just leaving everything up to you guys?
No, we asked him this stuff, before our discussions about the dance would have gone to him first.
And I didn't ask him about visitors outside of the district, so.
It'll depend, I think it'll depend.
What's going on?
What's going on.
Because they have one positive case right now that just come out.
For high school?
Yes.
That I know of? 2?
It's at least 2.
Middle school,
It might be safer to not get out of town.
yeah, it might be safer,
But we're playing football instead of, it's all,
That's okay though, man.
Yeah.
So,
I'm for it, but it is.
From what I've heard from other principals, we just had a statewide principal meeting this morning. And what I've heard from other principals is that positive cases so far for activities has all resulted around volleyball, no football, all volleyball cases. Douglas is a big one. 48 kids are quarantined in volleyball. No football that I know of in any school. And now, which you think that would not be the case, but so, anyway, we are going to have the parade. So another change would be Dr. Fitzsimmons really liked our idea of having the pep assembly outside in the stadium. He likes everything outside if we can. And so we're going to have a pep assembly. We do have to kind of be careful of our numbers there because we're regulated how many we can bring into the stadium. And we can stand around the edges outside the fence, but inside the stadium we're still restricted on our numbers, 175, 50% capacity. So we can't have the middle school involved this year. Typically we bring the middle school up and it's a really good connection, but we have to forego that this year because of our number restrictions, and hopefully still have some of the parents be able to come in and be part of that. Any questions on homecoming real quick? Okay, So, long-term sub situation, we've got a long-term sub at the high school. It's my first one ever as a principal, and it's not working out like we thought we had planned, but it's working out. And the kids have been really good about adapting, and we just had to use more subs than what we anticipated. We thought one long-term sub would be good, and it didn't quite work out. But we're working on that, and I'm staying in touch, talking to the kids in the classroom, see what's going on, and our substitutes that we've had in there are working really hard. Our ACT, it's kind of funny, but our seniors are taking ACT this year because they didn't take it in the spring. So the state hasn't taken it this fall, right away, October 6th, a few weeks away. We'll be testing our seniors on their ACT in this spring. That's been a challenge because we did like 10 weeks of ACT prep and then we just got locked out of school back in March. And so we've tried to do a few 25-minute things during advisory with our seniors and get them geared back up again, and hey, this counts, this is important for you guys, and try to motivate them and bring in some prep stuff a little bit, hit the areas that we haven't been very strong on, and we'll see what happens. It's going to be a roll of the dice. Everybody's in kind of the same boat. They had the whole fourth quarter with not taking tests, not taking assessments, and in the summer, then to come in and hit them with an ACT test right away. That's going to be a challenge, but we'll see what we do. And then activity-wise, football team had a big win at Thermopolis. That was great. They were ranked, I think, second in the state in 2A, so we came out with a win. That's awesome. And they have a big weekend this Friday. They go to Pinedale and play for the trophy. So our seniors, I had a quick talk with a couple guys in the hallway on Monday and said, well, you guys have never lost to Pinedale since you've been in high school. As varsity players, so this will be the 4th year in a row you win that. So no pressure, but it'd be nice to go out and not lose in Pinedale once. So that's their goal. The volleyball team has an equally important match. They play Friday night at home, and they play Wind River, which there's only 2 teams left, sort of, in our conference since Wyoming Indian and St. Stephen's failed to start school in person. So this is critical for the placement at the regional tournament, which is really going to be a rematch deal. Shoshone's going to drop down into our region just for the tournament to make it 3 teams and 3 teams. And this will go a long ways if we can win against Wind River. And they were like second at state last year, so it might be an uphill battle, but it's still an important game for them. And then girls swimming has already qualified 3 swimmers for the state meet. They're doing great with the small numbers they have. So, questions for me?
And Muriel Jones just won, didn't she win a cross country race? She won.
I had hard to keep track of that. She won at, was it in Evanston?
She got second down in Green River and then in Star Valley.
She won it in Star Valley. Awesome. Yeah, she's running for Jackson, against 4A schools. So I didn't know that. We also have one golfer golfing for Pinedale, and sometimes I lose track of that because they're not in school with that. Great.
Are there any restrictions on attending the game in Pinedale Friday?
They have a max number, but they said they don't think they have to worry about it. They didn't tell me what that number was, but for visitors, no restrictions, no tickets, nothing, so. Yeah.
It's cool.
But that has been a challenge because every contest that we play away, we have to figure out what is your win and what is your volleyball, swimming, they're all different. But football, they got to tell us, and we got to communicate with parents. Are we doing tickets? Are we discounting heads? What are we doing? So it's been a challenge.
What is it on volleyball? Like in the gym?
In our gym,
Yeah.
it's 250 max indoors, regardless if we were playing in, I think Casper Kelly Walsh or something like that, it would still be 250 unless they get a variance. So basically what we do is we try to just block off every other seat, and then we do tickets in addition to make sure we don't go beyond the 250.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Scott? 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 I should say Mr. Clark.
Hi, everyone. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Good. I don't have much I haven't told you already in my weekly report, but I'll add a few things. We got a new student enrolled today, so I'll start with the highlight. We got a new 7th grade boy. We're up to 116 in the building, 123, including our virtual enrollees. So hopefully we'll get back here someday. I know I've said this before, but the social distancing is going well. We have a few classrooms that are a little bit tight, but overall, no complaints about that. The kids with the masks, that hasn't been a problem. Like the staff and myself, every once in a while you got to remind them to put it on. You walk out and see everyone else with the mask on, and see that yours is laying on the desk. But that's going pretty good. We're doing the 2 lunches and 2 recesses this year to just get lower numbers in the cafeteria. And I think you'll have a hard time going back to 1 because the discipline problems have been almost eliminated from recess and lunch with the lower numbers, easier to monitor for the staff who are on duty, and then they're sitting 2 per table, so we haven't had any issues there. Our beginning of the year assessments were a little lower than we'd like to see, but we're kind of expecting that after the end of last year. We're doing the new program, the iReady program. The way that works, you take kind of a placement test. It's for math and reading, and then it gives you kind of the lessons where you're at, wherever you test out at, to kind of build you back up to where you should be. So we're hoping to utilize that some in our focus time and just for some extra work, get kids caught up. So it's our first year using it. So hoping that by the winter assessments, maybe we're closing that gap a little bit, but we'll see how that goes for us. Football and volleyball both have about 30 kids out. The 6th grade volleyball only has 5, but they have 14 7th graders and 11 8th graders. So today we had our first 6th grade game against Kimmer. They pulled a couple of the 7th grade B girls down, so that's good for them also. They all play a lot. After the 3 sets, they're pretty worn out, so it's fun to see them. And our first home events for this week, Saturday, we had our first home football game. Ridge County came up and played 8th, 7th, and 6th. Went well, other than we lost every one. But there was no real problem with the fans. They definitely sat with their groups for the biggest part, and seemed like they're pretty respectful of everything we're doing. I think my concern after our game today is definitely going to be the middle school gym. It was packed today, and a lot of people, once they did a really good job, they wore their masks as they came in, but once they got in the gym, they took them off, and there wasn't any social distancing on the Kimmer side. They travel with a big crew, so I'm kind of looking at what some of the other schools are doing, as they send us their information for the times we're playing and things. They kind of send us a little thing about what they're asking spectators to do. It's nothing's been far off from what we're doing. A couple of schools are asking, they're not allowing any kids younger than 5th grade in their buildings, which I'm just asking people to keep the kids in the gym instead of running around in the halls and cafeteria, to limit some cleaning and try to not break the middle school glass cases. It's my 3rd year and they're still there. And every year I think this could be the year you walk out, you see basketballs and footballs and everything else flying. I don't know how they've lasted this long, but so I hope they get through another year with them. Talk with Amy about this construction one, see what she thinks. And yeah, that's the attendance was great, both events. I was really happy to see how many of our, you can tell me there's not a whole lot going on right now because we've never had that many people with a 6th grade volleyball game, where I was counting to see if we were over 250 in the stands today. It's like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I bet you there were 100 people from Kimmer at least over there. It was slam packed that side. And then our 7th and 8th grade girls came in and watched the games, and the coaches talked to them before the games, and it's a good representation of our school and our community. They all walked in with their masks on and sat down and left them on, because they were sitting beside each other in the stands. And having the principal and Mrs. Olson sitting on either end of them probably helped, but, it was fine. It was pretty good, but I think especially when basketball comes around, I'm hoping maybe restrictions are different, or I think we'll have to limit spectators after seeing how many came out for the 6th grade volleyball game. I'm hoping not, but Eddie's gonna let us use the rec center where we have 7th and 8th volleyball. That way one team can play over there, so we get some more people, but, I mean, the capacity, if you really did 50% capacity in our middle school gym, it'd probably be around 100 people. The elementary is 70 people, with 50% capacity, so that's kind of my concern, so I'm kind of trying to figure out right now if we have to continue, especially in the basketball season. But that's all I have for tonight. Any questions?
How's
Thanks and good luck.
the renovation disrupting any of your?
They've been really good today. Right at 4 o'clock, you know, you could hear them working in the old U-Haul. You could hear it a little bit in the basketball, but having those other 25 girls in there screaming, it drowned it out pretty good. You couldn't hear much but them. My ears were ringing by the time I left, but no, they've been real nice to work with. I've never called and asked for something they didn't accommodate us, and yeah, so far so good. Yeah, they're a very respectful group, and
They're very, very efficient about bringing any new contractors over, running them through the Raptor system. They're turning in daily logs of their temperature checks for the crew. So they've been very good so far.
they're very, very responsive. They always answer when I call and ask, you know, say, hey, we grab something out of our library or the main office. Can I come through? And usually somebody meets you at the door, you know, tell you if there's anything you can watch out for. And they have hard hats and vests there, so I feel like the village people a little bit. I might break out some YMCA one day in PE. But it's going great. It's so far so good.
Those disappear in the words.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Did you send in Mrs. Bell?
I will.
Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to see you. A little dark in that hallway, so wow. So our school year has actually begun really well. I am amazed at just, the kids are so adaptable. The teachers have really done a great job of making this seem just like, this is just another school supply. This is just another something that we're gonna have to use, and we're gonna get on with math now. And it's just been lovely to be in classes and see that this hasn't been a distraction. We have been able to distance enough in classes that children can take their masks off when they're sitting in class, when they're up, or even if it's to sharpen a pencil, use the bathroom, they put their mask on. You know, they sit down, take their mask off to eat, they get up to dump their tray, they put their mask on. So the kids really are adjusting and adaptable, and you know, they're kids. We should have known they would be, but they're really making us all proud. The teachers too. The teachers have worked hard to distance their classrooms. Some have put tape on the floor to make little offices for their kids. That's kind of their safe zone, and when they're in their office, they can mask off and just kind of chill for a minute, so they kind of enjoy that. And it's been better than anyone expected, I'm sure. So shout out to my teachers and shout out to our families too. Our families have been really supportive. We had a fire drill the first day of school at LaBarge Elementary, and those kindergartners rocked it. They did great. And started the school year with an outdoor assembly at both schools. So, you know, every year we start the school year with an assembly. We all get together and we just start to build that sense of community. We were able to do that outside this year at both schools, and it was a great way to start our school year. We also got together as a school community for Patriots Day last week and said the pledge together at both schools as a school community. And those are the kinds of things that we hope to continue. You know, we are all in this together, and as long as we take precautions, we can get together once in a while, and it's been good so far. Our Big Piney Elementary PTO worked over the summer to coordinate shirts for every student and staff member at the elementary school, so thanks to the PTO. Big news is I've had 6 new teachers since January in less than a year. We introduced 6 people to our one school or the other, and I am thrilled with the caliber of people that we've found. The teachers have done a great job so far. They're working with their mentors, and it's been a really good start to the school year in all those classes. I've observed almost all of them, and I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing. Assessment-wise, it was really important for us to start the school year with assessments so that we could tell what kind of loss, if there's any loss, you know, that the remote learning period kind of created for us. And we've gotten a lot of data back, and it's not as strong as it typically is, but it's better than what we expected in most areas. So that makes me happy. We're going to meet together with data teams in the next couple of weeks and start to plan interventions. So in that vein, the school year is starting the same way it always does as well. We have White Top. The state's really trying to get us to administer White Top as quickly as possible, so we have until the end of October to do that. Fast Bridge was our priority because that gives us data that we can use right now to drive instruction in White Top. We'll get that done by the 23rd of October when we're supposed to. One of the biggest changes has been lunch. You know, it's all of the things that go into planning a day that have been the biggest challenges. The transition times and the scheduling and lunch. And when I talk to principals around the state, everyone's dealing with lunch as one of their biggest issues right now. And we have, in the barge, we've added a lunch period, and at Big Piney Elementary, we added a lunch period, and it's going really well. I'm thrilled that we're able to eat lunch in the cafeteria. Many schools around the state can't say that. They're eating in hallways, they're eating in the gym, because they have to distance their kids. So we're happy that we have perfect number of kids that we can all eat in the lunchroom. Three sections here and 2 sections of the barge. And speaking of the cafeteria, we're grateful to have free meals for the time being until the end of the school year, not the school year, the end of the calendar year. So that's about all that's going on in our world. We're busy. Teachers are doing a lot. Custodians are doing a lot. Everyone is, you know, just stepping up and making us really proud. So. Any questions?
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. It's appreciated.
Now we're gonna move down to 4.2, which is the superintendent's report. Mr. Irving.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our current enrollment is 491 students. The large elementary school has 47 students, Big Piney Elementary 160, Big Piney Middle School 123, and the high school has 160. Out of that total, 20 of the students are enrolled in a virtual academy somewhere in Wyoming. So actual bodies on campus is about 471 kids. And we have, this year, currently we have 22 students being homeschooled, which is a little bit more than usual. So we're usually in the teens, towards the upper teens, but we have 22 this year. As you've heard from everyone, we've had good compliance with the face mask. The fever number is a big issue for the public health officer. And recent meetings, they want to hold to that number. What they want us to change is we've had a long-standing procedure here that if you had a 100.4 or greater fever, we would send you home and you would have to be fever-free for 24 hours before you could return without medication. What Dr. Fitzsimmons wants us to do is change that to 72 hours without a fever.
But without medication, so no Tylenol?
Without medication affecting your fever. But that sounds like it'll put a lot of kids out of school. However, at the same time, through a number of this organization called SLIP and the county commissioners, any student 0 to 18 right now can get a free strep, flu, and COVID test, quick test at the clinic, Monday through Friday between 1 and 5. All they have to do is call to schedule the meeting, and if that test comes back negative, that same kid can come back to school that day. So it's something of an incentive to go get the test taken. We have strep going through us right now, we have some flu as well, so it could be a good thing for us. So we'll be sending out some notices on that tomorrow, but free is always a good thing. We received a grant from the Wyoming Energy Authority that's gonna make it so we can get into LED lighting completely in the elementary school, the Pioneer Elementary, and at the stadium. That's a good deal for us. We just have to meet with Rocky Mountain Power to talk to them about their incentives. We have to include that. But they're giving us $25,000, and to get that, all we have to do is be haunted by them. Ms. Anschutz, George, and myself, we were important to them. We will resume Student of the Month next month. I talked to Robert. We'll do that the way we were doing it in the spring, which is we won't have the students come here. We will get them a plaque. We will have the teachers write up and a picture, and we'll get that to Robert in the newspaper, and we'll have that in the paper as long as we're under this situation. Two sort of areas of questions for you, and I'd be happy to take your feedback on it. One is that as we're moving towards the open gym sort of season, I would recommend, since it's indoors, that we only let currently enrolled students participate in our open gyms that we hold at the high school. I think that's a good measure, but you all can give me feedback on that. That's certainly not happening tomorrow, but that's where I would be on that. Dr. Fitzsimmons has been pretty liberal with us about anything that happens outside, whether it's the dance or graduation, but inside he's been a little more strict, and he worries me a little bit more about that kind of stuff. So I think we might want to limit that to our students, but you may have other opinions, and I'm happy to hear those. And then Amy mentioned the free lunch, so the Department of Education, the Department of Agriculture has offered us free breakfast and lunch for all students through the month of December. We have to provide some cold lunches for our virtual students if they care to come and pick them up. We've gone through the numbers. We're able to do that at no significant extra cost, and it's not where we'll take any greater loss on the school lunch program if we go with that. So it's a pretty good deal, and I would recommend that we go through with that. So that's my report. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Mr. Garvey, of the virtual students who are attending school through Virtual Academy, what age group are we seeing the bulk of that in?
There's 8 elementary school students, all at Big Piney Elementary, 7 at the middle school, and 5 at the high school.
I would have anticipated it would have been the high school kids that would have been a higher percentage or higher number. That's interesting.
I think, again, going back to what Jeff was saying, all the students seem really happy to be back in school, and I know we'll cure them of that eventually. But high school kids especially miss the socialization part. And our kids have been socializing throughout this whole thing, but in much smaller groups, and not seeing the breadth of everyone they know. So, and having activities is a big deal. I would hate to lose the activities. I'd hate for something to happen where they cancel those again. Again, as we've spoken of, it's a big part of their high school experience, and it'll be painful to us all should we lose any of those.
I think the littler kids, if the parents are kind of a little scared of this whole COVID, they just tell their kids they're not going to school. If you have a high school kid, everyone knows. They can tell you kind of, I'd rather go to school.
So that's, yeah, it's, I don't know if we ever anticipated a number with regards to that, and I think some of those, and I hear this from other superintendents as well, I think some of our virtual students will be coming back. I think they think the virtual school will look like what we did in the spring, and I think they'll find it's not that.
Because it's not through us, correct?
Correct.
It's
But they stay, they're enrolled with us.
with us, but it's not, it's different than the homeschool program. It's a virtual academy through the state.
Through three private companies that are affiliated with school districts. So, three sort of, One thing about the free lunches, and we're trying to hit this hard, is we still need parents to fill out the free and reduced lunch forms, even though lunch is free, because that's gonna affect a big part of our Title I funding next year. The October count is a big deal for us, so we're trying to get that message out this way.
Anything else? Well, we'll just move on to number 5, which is unfinished business. Thanks, Mr. Wilkie. Any unfinished business? How about community comments?
No one's here.
No one's here? Okay, we're gonna move to 7.1. Appoint WSBA Delegate Assembly Representative. Alan, you did it last year. Would you like to do it again?
Sure.
Okay.
I think all the meetings are gonna be through Zoom meetings, if I understood correctly.
They'll be Zoom or canceled, I think.
Everybody good with that? Okay, Alan, you're gonna do it.
All right.
7.2, consent agenda, amend Title IX policies. The recommendation is for the board to approve and adopt the revised Title IX policies, AC non-discrimination, AC-R non-discrimination, harassment, complaint procedures, and ACA sexual discrimination / harassment. I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Now, we're gonna move to 8.1, next tentative board trustees meeting. The recommendations for the board to schedule the next regular board meeting for Wednesday, October 21st, 2020, 7 p.m. in Labarge Elementary. I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Been moved second, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. 9.1, meeting adjourned. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Meeting adjourned. What were you saying? You didn't want to give my news?